Are you looking to buy a new macro lens for your dental photography, or perhaps you're looking to upgrade from your old existing lens to a better lens? Well, I did exactly that. I used to have a Canon EF100 non-L series f2.8 macro lens, and I've recently upgraded to the RF100 f2.L series lens. Now, I was actually looking at upgrading it to the one that fits the digital SLR, but then I was thinking, why not just go ahead and buy the RF100? So I landed up buying a mirrorless camera as well. So I'm going to share my experiences based on how I use it for dental photography. This is the previous lens that I had, and I still have it. It's the Canon EF100 Macro lens. It's the non-L series. It's got a maximum aperture of f2.8 and a magnification ratio of 1:1. It's a great lens. I really love this lens. It's got great results. Quick autofocus, silent motor, sharp images. Really, I didn't have any complaints with this lens. Sadly, this lens is no longer in production, but you can get it in the used market for about £400. I made a quick internet search and that's what I came up with. And this is what my setup looked like. So this is the EF100 mounted on a Canon 200D. A great setup. Of course, I also use a flash on it. I was looking to upgrade this lens to the L series version, and I looked at the prices. The price of the L series lens was about £1,000. At the moment, it's discounted by Canon, and I've noticed in the last few months the price of the L series lens that fits the SLR camera has gradually crept up. It used to be about £800-900, and it's gone substantially more in the last few months. And I got thinking, and I thought, why not just buy the mirrorless version, the Canon RF100 macro lens? And that's what I exactly did. I landed up buying this one. Now, something to think about is your EF lens on the left is going to fit on your SLR, and with the help of an adapter, the EF lens can also fit a mirrorless camera body. However, your RF lens will not fit your SLR body. Your RF lens is only going to fit your mirrorless camera body. So the result was I landed up buying this RF lens and a mirrorless camera body too. And my current setup looks something like that. So this is the Canon RF100 macro lens mounted on a mirrorless camera, the R7. We'll talk more about this lens, and this video is really dedicated to more about the lens rather than the camera body. Perhaps in another video we'll talk about camera bodies. Some of the main features of this lens are it's got a maximum aperture of f2.8 as with the previous version. Here's what's different. The magnification ratio is now at 1:1.4 as opposed to 1:1 in the previous EF version of the lens. So obviously it means you can get a little bit closer. You can get bigger images that will cover the entire screen. You can get really up close to your subject. It is an image stabilized lens. It's got a 9-blade iris. The cost is about £1,300. So you can see it's not a lot more money than the L series version that fits the SLR one. So if you put them alongside, you can see the setup looks quite a bit bigger. This is the previous version that I had, and I still have it. It's the EF mounted on an SLR, and this is the RF lens mounted on a mirrorless camera. It's quite a bit longer. It's a little bit heavier as well. Right, so this is our RF100 mounted on a R7. As you can see, it says Canon 100 there, and it's got basically 3 rings. One is here, one is there, and one is furthest up. Now, this is the SA control, also called the spherical aberration control ring, and this is essentially used to change the shape of the background bokeh. Now, I don't have much use of it, so if you flip it around, you can see there's a lock switch there, and I just lock it into place so that it doesn't move. Then the next ring is the main focus ring, and this obviously is quite large as compared to the adjacent ones, so it's got a good feel to it. It's nicely rubberized, so you can change it very quickly. And the third ring that's movable is this one right at the end. Now this is you can customize this. You can customize it in the menu. So it can be used to change the shutter speed, the ISO, the aperture, anything that you want. You can customize this ring to do. You're going to have to press the shutter half down, and then if you change it, depending upon how you program it, those parameters will change. So this is a totally customizable ring. Above that is the red ring, and that is typical of an L series lens. The filter size is about 67 millimeter. Now this is important to understand because it might be different from if you're using a ring flash. That diameter might be a little bit different. So you might need a step up or a step down ring depending upon which flash system you're using. And then if I flip it around, you can see you've got a switch here, and that is your focus limiter switch. Now it can vary from full. There are 2 more stops, and this is really interesting because it helps for a quick autofocus. Rather than going through all the focus points, if you limit it, it will quickly pick up the focal point. And then we have your autofocus or manual focus switch, and on the side you've got your image stabilization switch, so whether it's on or off. Now I've noticed that these are handy, they're well placed, they're a little bit difficult to switch on and off as compared to the previous version of. Now this is the EF100. You can see this whole little belt is sticking out a little bit, and I don't know, for some reason I just thought it had quicker access to the switches and you can change them very quickly. That's just a little bit different from this lens. Not that this is a problem, but just notice the difference. It's not coming jutting out, it just flush with the lens barrel itself. This lens weighs at about 685 grams, so it's a little heavier. The EF lens is about 625 as opposed to 685. So the previous version, the body, the lens, and the ring flash came at about 1.5 kilos. And this one, this whole setup, along with the ring flash, it now comes to about 1.7. So this setup is a tad heavier. Like I said before, it's got a magnification ratio 1:1.4. So that's really good. The length is about 15 centimeter. And it is, if I put them alongside, you can see it's a little bit longer than the previous setup. So those were some of the features of the lens. Now let's see how the lens actually performs. I divided it into 2 sections. I've gone into the garden where it just rained. We've taken some photos of some flowers. And then we're going to go into the practice and we're going to take actually some dental photos. So let's look at those, how they look. The first thing we can notice is the quick autofocus. So if I just play this little video, you can see it is able to switch between the foreground and background rather quickly without any delay. So you can see the garden is about 20 feet in length, and it focuses right at the back and right at the front in quick succession. So really good quality of autofocus, very quick autofocus, I must admit that. Then we also took some photos of some flowers, as we do. This is a slightly wider view, and once we get up close, you can see a lot more detail. The colors are beautiful. I think it's got a lot of sharpness as well. Really good pictures. And then I took this one. When I first saw this, I thought, oh dear, that looks like a bit of color fringing, but then actually the leaf has got 2 colors. The borders are this little bluish color on the side, bluish purple on the side. So again, you can see good capture of the surface texture, really good details. There's another one, quite good. I thought so. Good focus, good capture. And then in this photo, really, we were looking for, is there any color fringing? So we can see right there, I thought, if there was color fringing, you would catch it here. But there isn't any. And you can see it looks quite good. Good capture, good surface detail, no color fringing. So quite happy with that one as well. There's another one we took with a few droplets of water. Again, really sharp, good color reproduction. Really good results, quite impressive. Then there's this one, and here you can see the background bokeh. And if I change that SA control, spherical aberration control, this is what will change. The shape of these things will change. Simultaneously, the focus on this will change a little bit. Of course, I'm not too keen on using that feature, but for some people who are interested in using that, I'm sure it'll be really useful. Again, another one showing good capture of the surface texture there. You can see a little bit of pollen there as well. I thought that was quite impressive. And another one, this is actually a bird feeder with few drops of water on one of the bars. So it's really quite small. Excellent pre-production, I thought. There's another one. And there we go. Really good capture, really sharp, tack sharp. And this one, I could see only with the macro lens, these little bugs over there. I actually didn't notice them with the naked eye. It's only when I got the picture and I can see them. So really good quality, I would say. And again, fantastic capture of the sharpness. Really like this. So we're not going to use it in the garden really. Our purpose is to use it for dental photos. So before we take patients' photos, we actually took some photos of some everyday dental objects in the practice. So this is our chrome denture. I thought really good detail there as well. And these are captured at a wider aperture, so it doesn't have much of a depth of field. And this is your applicator tip, the one that we use to apply the bonding agent with. I thought it looked really good. Good capture of the detail. This is obviously a scalar tip. I didn't actually know it has all these rings marked on them. So it is quite interesting to see. I also took some pictures of burrs. So this is as is. So this has not been edited in any way. And you can see the 1.4 magnification here. You can see it's quite clearly exposed, really good sharpness, and we've been able to get quite up close. That is the beauty of the higher magnification. So that's a green colored burr. Then we have a red colored burr, and you can see also similar result. And then we put them both together and we took a picture. So you can see excellent sharpness again. And we did a little bit of editing in the next one. There we go, slightly enlarged, and you can see so much amount of surface detail. And this is all captured by the RF100 macro lens. We also took a little picture of a lab work. You can see a really nice texture, how the technician has created some really nice colors, some nice texture, and it's all been captured so well with this lens. In the next image, we have the previous lens that I had, the EF and the RF. Now you can see that the image that is being captured on the left is captured by the one on the right. So this image is captured by the RF100 and the right image is being captured by the EF lens. So really good quality on both of them. Now it's hard to say which one's better than the other. I quite like both of them. Now, are there any disadvantages to the RF100? I couldn't think of many, but I found 3 small disadvantages, which I thought were disadvantages. And believe me, none of them was a deal breaker. Number one was, if I show in the image here, my old EF lens had a little window that shows the magnification ratio. This feature is missing on the new lens. I'm not saying that it's a problem because you can still see the magnification if you view through the viewfinder. It was just that I was used to this feature and then I find it missing. The second one is, I've only heard about this, is the focus shift. I've been through some online forums and quite a few people speak about this, especially at larger apertures, they've experienced a focus shift. Now, I haven't experienced this problem at all, perhaps because I use only narrow apertures, but just to put that into the mix. Now, the third one is the cost. This lens comes new at 1,300 pounds. That's quite a lot of investment that's required. Now, my old lens is sadly no longer under production, but if you're someone who's new to dental photography and you're building up your camera system from scratch, it might be a good idea to start off with something used with a digital SLR and get a bargain price for not just the camera, for also the lens. Now, I made a quick internet search, and if I show you this, this one is the EF100 L series lens, the macro lens, and it comes at 507 pounds. So there's quite a lot of money saved there. And if you go for the non-L series, just the EF lens, like the one that I had, it's at 350. There's one even at 277. There are a few cheaper ones from eBay. So that's quite a lot of money that needs to be invested into it.
I invested into it because I am an enthusiast and I really wanted to try and upgrade my lens. It's up to you to decide how you want to go about it. If you found this video useful, consider giving us a like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us to create more content.